Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the edition of How Did This Get Booked? I, of course, am your host, Jake Manning, and I am a veteran of the professional wrestling business for over a decade, and I've held every single job except selling popcorn. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, my cohort, my friend, Zane Riley. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty sex, Jake.
Little inside joke. I fucked up the intro. Got it in my head and just said the word sex. Maybe because the love of my life is also joining us today on the program. Sojo Bolt, Josette Bynum. How are you doing, my wonderful dear?
I'm good. Thank you for having me here.
Okay, well, there's a very special reason why you are here, and we'll just jump right into it because I'm sensing a sense of, like, let's hurry up and get through this from you two. I was very excited about this selection that we're going to be talking on today's edition of How Did This Get Booked? But I feel like you guys, once you realize what you're in for, hate my guts right now.
I don't think you watched what we watched then.
Right? I think he's excited because he likes drama.
When did it start? I thought it was because we were big Doctor Who fans and these motherfuckers time travel.
We can talk about that in a minute.
Right.
I was right there with you on that.
We're
I was like,
going there.
I thought we were in the 70s at this point. What the...
Well,
Yep.
All right.
Let's start going, Jake. Moderate. Moderate.
Let's start at the beginning.
Moderate.
Where's the beginning?
Moderate this angry conversation that's already started.
The beginning was, hey, is that Chris Canyon?
That's exactly what it was.
Well,
That was the beginning.
let me give the particulars of the particular show that we are watching. We watch the Jesse Ventura Story, a TV movie that was aired on NBC on May 23rd of 1999, which I saw aired live.
It was before NBC had money.
Well, they had a ton of money at that time. This is post, like, Cosby Show, post Cheers.
This is when they're running out
This
of
is
money.
when they had ran out of money.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the downswing. They went to the Fed, now they're back on the Indies.
Well, if you're going to criticize it, let's put a little bit of perspective, and that's kind of where these notes come in handy. Keep in mind, it debuted May 23rd, 1999. Jesse was elected governor November of 1998. So this movie was written, produced, edited, and released a little over 7 months later.
Yeah.
So let's
And
let
I
that
feel
be
like
said.
7 months of work went into it.
Okay, as long as you feel that way, as long as you feel that way. But I'll save some of these other notes. Let's just jump into what we've discussed right as well. When it says based on a true story, and the first thing we see is Canyon.
Yeah, it should be like based on a true story ish.
Yeah, well, it was like
Which at the end, like they gave a little like in warner, like by the way, some of that shit was not necessarily the truest of
Is
truth.
that what happened at the end?
No, those had the beginning and also the end as well.
Okay.
It was bookend by disclaimers, but it was weird when you have a disclaimer like, hey, these are based on true events, and then you have 1984, and then here's Cannon with a WCW tag belt.
Yeah.
Like, that's a very hard leap to get over mentally.
You know.
So, but yeah, which lets you know that Canyon would have been 14 in 1984,
Yes.
So that was interesting. So, but yeah, Jesse introed. It gets an intro, and he's going after Russell Canyon. He's got the same intro with a stunt granny.
Yeah, stunt granny.
This is the same network that also aired that wonderful special as well. So we're just keeping with the theme of pro wrestling.
Because they already knew.
Yeah, they already knew about stunt grannies.
That guy was probably, like, the guy that had played Jesse was probably one of the guys that gave away the secrets on it.
Well, let me tell you about the guy, since
Oh,
you brought it
fuck
up,
me.
about this
Here we
guy. The guy playing Jesse Ventura, his name is Niles Allen Stewart. If you look up his IMDb page, he has quite an extensive credits as a stunt coordinator.
But not actor.
Oh no, also actor as well.
Okay, I was just
But he's usually playing thug, bald guy, or Mongol horde. You know what I'm saying? That's usually his list of credits. But here's a few of his.
He's classically trained.
Here's a few of his stunt credits. Is some ones that stuck out to me was Galaxy Quest, Reno 911, the movie and the TV show.
Love that.
Untold Stories of the ER, mostly the reenactments.
That's a good show.
And of course, probably a favorite of yours and mine, Zane, Big Money Rustlers.
Oh! Big Money Rustlers was on there?
Yes.
Why haven't we done that yet?
We're probably going to get
It's on
there.
the what? We'll talk about it after
His
this.
acting credits include The Scorpion King, The Shadow, and Anger Management, Daredevil, and Planet of the Apes. He also was a professional wrestler for Eddie Manfield's IWF, which I believe was the promotion that ran at Universal Studios before WCW came in and took it away from Eddie Mansfield.
Take that, Eddie.
So there you go. But that's the information on that.
I feel stupid now.
And yeah.
He's got such a list of credits.
Oh, he's still working.
What a thespian this man is.
He's by far, like, of everybody involved in this, the most successful of anybody.
Disagree, but we'll get there later.
Okay. Well,
there is an actual celebrity in the movie. It just takes a minute to find them.
Okay. I'm excited.
Yep.
I'm excited for this. But we start with Jesse's heart attack at 34 is where we start off with. Which makes me a little bit nervous because I'm 35 and I haven't had my heart attack yet.
Which is what... Well, I guess you haven't broken enough bones, though.
Okay, yeah. That was the embolism.
That was the deal, yeah.
Yeah. Which
it's still surprised you haven't.
Which Jesse, in real life, claims the reason he had a heart attack and had an embolism was because he was exposed to Agent Orange in Vietnam.
Yeah, you know.
Even though he really didn't see a lot of combat, which we will get into probably a discussion when we get to Jesse's
a really rad
life.
parachute ride, and that's about it.
yeah. We'll get on into all this, I'm sure. But then we flash forward to Bald Jesse, and then a flashback to Muhammad Ali versus Sonny Liston back in the day. And then, of course, we get this random story about his father being called Sneakers.
Yeah.
So,
which only has somewhat of a callback, but Dad becomes the best character of this movie.
Yeah, he really does.
What a good dad.
I know, right? But you know, and the thing is, I really like this movie because listen.
Careful now.
Well, I like the story of Jesse Ventura. Okay. Let me start with that because I feel a strong attachment to him. Because I'm a pro wrestler. I'm politically minded.
Bald. You have a mustache.
Yeah, I look exactly like him.
They're both flashy.
You know exactly like I work on my Jesse Ventura impersonation on regular in case they ever need to tell his life story better than they told here.
But like today.
Which you pick the guy with the least amount of accent to play the guy who has the most amount of accent ever. Like
that Minnesota accent, it's great.
I
once again I should have took my alpha brain before I got here. A big reason why Sojo is here is because she is a former resident of Minnesota and even voted for said Jesse the Body Ventura.
I did vote for him.
Due to politics or the fact that it was Jesse the Body Ventura?
I was young. And I think it was my first time voting, in
fact.
And he spoke to me.
Personally? Because it seemed like anybody could approach him in these...
Heard. Here's the deal. That was a long time ago. I have no idea what I was thinking at that time. I have aged at least a few years and have done a lot of things to my brain. Wrestling, drinking, great.
Yeah.
Living.
You know, life.
So I can't exactly remember my reason for voting for him, but I know I felt like it was the cool thing to do. It was to vote for him.
Made a movie about it. It was so cool.
Right.
Well, I'm sure there's some people that feel exactly the way you do now today, and we'll draw those parallels as we get a little bit closer. I've got a lot of plots. In this podcast. I've got a lot of traps that I have set up for you guys.
Jesus.
So
how is this Saw?
Listen,
is this a new episode of Rick and Morty?
Do you see this? Like, I have his Wikipedia page printed out page by page, and it's crumpled up like some sort of manifesto right now.
Oh, man.
I've been thoroughly excited for this podcast.
You've got your own theories.
I've got my...
Oh, what the fuck?
Listen, in the words of Jesse, I don't buy it.
I don't buy it. I hope not.
But a big thing that also kind of took me out of it is when they showed a flashback of him going to the St. Paul Civic Center to watch wrestling and see superstar Billy Graham in a singlet.
Yes, did that happen?
Yeah, never.
Wow.
Yeah,
and a real cool buzz cut. You know?
Yeah, that guy had the best body ever, and he could have been just he could have just said it's Billy Graham, but no, I gotta wear my singlet.
Yeah,
and that infuriates me more. Like that juiced up, jacked guy was like, nah, man, I gotta cover myself. I feel a little self conscious.
He would have been a better fit Finley than a superstar.
Yeah, I would have bought that. But then we flash to him during basic training. And then, of course, they use stock footage in this movie for Navy SEALs. They use stock footage.
Yeah. All this stuff is stock footage. Those weren't live crowds. That's why they had Wolfpack and Triple H signs in 1973.
Yeah, there are obviously WCW shows that they filmed that to get some of these B-roll footage and stuff like that, which is interesting. And I should bring that up because this brings it up to another piece of my notes right here, is that because Jesse was fired from WCW. He was fired by Eric Bischoff because Eric Bischoff found him napping at a TV taping. But most people believe that was kind of a setup for the fact that they wanted to fire Jesse because they knew Hulk Hogan was coming in. And Jesse and Hulk have never got along ever since it was found out that Hulk was the one that blocked the Wrestlers Union. So there's always been this animosity between the two, so they had to get rid of Jesse. And Jesse refereed a match at SummerSlam 1999, and he cited the only reason he went back and worked for Vince, who he had a contentious relationship with. The only reason he went back and worked for WWF is because he wanted to stick it to WCW so badly. and I have a feeling it's because of the firing over a nap when they're really bringing in Hogan, and also too because of this movie, and you use WCW wrestlers in it to stick it to them. But it was also noted that he changed the finish of the SummerSlam match. Triple H was supposed to win the title, but Jesse felt that it looked bad for his political image if he had to raise the hand of a bad guy. So,
a lot of thought behind that.
Even at the beginning when he was like, everybody loves to hate the bad guy.
Oh my goodness, can we talk about that scene? Actually, because I love that scene. I'm sitting there watching that, and this young man, I feel like he was sitting in the front row.
Oh, yeah, they were.
Right. They were totally sitting in the front row. What a dream. At our independent wrestling show. And he is the only young person in the world who has got pro wrestling figured out. He right there said it. He's like, it's so simple. It's the story of good versus evil. I was like...
Yeah, he got front row because his brother was in the Navy, and he was able to get tickets.
I was like...
Which we never hear from the brother again.
That was my big question. And we never see the brother. Like, this is
Did
like
they
kind
not address that?
No,
he just goes.
Well, I thought it was like implied that he died in the war. No?
No.
No?
He because he goes from there and he goes straight into basic, and then they do that, and then he goes to see a wrestling show and he comes back on his motorcycle.
Yeah. There's no mention of him ever again in his life whatsoever. Yeah. And I just read his entire Wikipedia page. There's no mention of his brother dying.
Same way there. So that part they got dead on.
Oh my gosh, it's like Happy Days.
What is...
The brother went upstairs and he never came back. Oh my god.
But does it mention his brother at all in the...
No.
So maybe the brother is a fake character. Since everything else is fake in this fucking movie.
Was he just trying to get somebody a payday?
Gotta look that up.
I'm looking all this up right now. I don't see any... Like, it definitely was no mention like my brother died or anything like that. But like siblings or anything like that, I don't know.
Well, there's the beginning of our conspiracy theory.
A conspiracy theorist right here.
So his fake brother, who he made up to kind of cope with the fact that his dad didn't really give a shit about wrestling. He didn't tell his brother to get out of the fucking way, and his brother didn't even go eat. Yeah, his brother did eat dinner at the beginning when she made the mac and cheese. So well, we've already started to turn over some stones here.
Oh boy.
We're gonna dig deeper, even too. But this movie didn't dig deep in his era when he was like in a anti. When he was anti-establishment, biking around the country, which was actually the time that he was a part of the Mongols motorcycle club.
I just assumed that was the montage. The meaning of the montage.
They kind of gloss over the fact that he was like, I was sergeant at arms of the Mongol motorcycle club.
Should we throw that in there? Just montage.
Montage. But it's something he didn't really even mention. Like, he mentioned on Joe Rogan's podcast and stuff like that, and he talked about it. Like, he goes all the times that he was running for political office, he goes, nobody ever used that against me. And he goes, that would have been a great thing to use against me.
Let me show you how to beat me.
Yeah, like, that would have been perfect. So, but yeah, and then also too, like, the bike gangs were big because of guys coming back from Vietnam, because of, like dealing with like the camaraderie and brotherhood that they weren't seeking in society, and also too, like, you talk about motorcycle gangs being overly violent. That might be because guys are dealing with PTSD. And that's why they were what they were. But he talked about bodyguarding for the Rolling Stones, which I think Mick Jagger even made mention that Jesse did it. He was very proud of Jesse in his entire career. So Mick even remembers him. He wasn't just a guy in the background doing whatever. Like Mick's like, I got did
the body. The body's over there, guy.
Yeah, body's a good guy. So, anyways, he rolls up to his parents' house, and like his dad comes out and meets him with the long hair, and he's looking like a hippie on on a motorbike. Kind of weird the way the actress who was his mom delivered the line. She goes, "That doesn't look like Jimmy." like there's some sort of like big twist. Like that isn't her son. Like
maybe she has Alzheimer's already. Yeah. I don't know.
I thought they were hitting that later in the game.
Yeah.
But
she's having some memory problems.
Yeah, I thought that's what they were hitting to. But
was there like an Ultimate Warrior conspiracy? Like there was two Jesse the Body Venturas?
Oh, like... Hey, I buy it.
Well, I don't buy it.
I thought it was weird and very like moderately humorous that. So he went to go see the first wrestling show with his brother, and since he was in the Navy, he got front row. But when he comes back as a former SEAL, he can't get front row.
No, he sure can't.
And then everybody fucking leaves.
But he eventually did because everyone moved away from him.
He's like, well, sat down. First row now, bitches. That whole, when he bought the motorcycle, was an extremely confusing scene to me. Like, I didn't really get what was going on. Like, they weren't going to sell him the motorcycle because he was killing kids. Yeah. But then he still ended up in a motorcycle.
Because he said he would go across the street.
Okay.
The person across the street would sell it to him.
Okay.
So the dealership across the street didn't call him a baby killer. That was what it was supposed to be implied. Also, too, a lot of Nixon bashing in this movie.
I mean, not incorrectly, like not misplaced.
No, but I feel like since we've kind of brought up the wrestling, I think we need to talk about some of the placement in the sense of the type of moves that we were seeing in the ring.
Who the fuck was doing a 450 splash in the 70s?
Nobody. That's who. Nobody.
No one. That blew my mind.
They were not doing 450s.
And then there was like a little best moonsault ever in there at some point too. But like more in the 80s. When it also didn't exist.
The gear wasn't correct for the time.
Mortis was there.
In a ladder match.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
There was a lot of weirdness. Again, Time Lords.
Well, like they had like indie guys who were like probably 170 pounds at best, wrestling in the 70s in a ring doing all the flips in the world.
Yeah,
like
this is where it was coming from.
Yeah,
I mean, all the way to the end where his friend, who is supposedly the champion, is literally wearing a one-color singlet. Yeah, and I was like, "Who is he, Mr. Perfect?"
And Wrestling Raven.
Yeah, seriously. I was like, so no signage, or no name, no design, no nothing. This is not.
You're not on TV.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Well, and also too, another thing that might offend us as pro wrestlers. How about the training sequence?
Oh yeah, where he's giving each little bit away.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Like,
and not even not even like in an instructor's way. Just you see that, like they're telling me how to do a magic trick.
Like just shitting on pro wrestling. Yeah. Like. Just like painful. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, get out of here.
It was.
It was. I could fall down. It doesn't hurt. Bullshit.
It did hurt.
Can't stand straight right now.
Yeah.
I hobbled in here.
Yeah. Thanks for shitting on wrestling. Yeah. Thanks for shitting on wrestling again, NBC. You know what I'm saying? Like.
A2.
And like the trainer, like wrestling in a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
Like.
First it was a red shirt, then a Hawaiian shirt. He's just business casual.
Which Jesse Ventura trained by Eddie Sharkey.
So was I. Trainer champions.
So is this guy Eddie Sharkey?
I was thinking it was Iron Sheik because I know Iron Sheik trains people in Minnesota, but through Wikipedia it said Eddie Sharkey was a trainer of Jesse Ventura.
Oh yeah.
Sojo, what'd you talk about your memories of Eddie Sharkey?
Eddie Sharkey's the best. He is exactly what you think he is. I remember the first time I ever saw him, it was at First Avenue nightclub, and he literally was sitting in a corner with a light above him, and he had his feet up, and he was wearing cowboy boots, and he had a button shirt that was open halfway, and there was old man chest hair hanging out.
Now, was it a Hawaiian shirt?
It was not a Hawaiian shirt.
Okay.
You take some liberties to get this.
Okay.
Like 2 or 3 gold chains, and literally in one hand he had a wad of money, and the other hand a glass of whiskey. And it was like a movie.
But better than this movie?
Oh, way better than this
one. Like some shitty Minnesota...
I was awake for this one.
Some shitty Minnesota Scarface. Just...
Yeah.
With Push It to the Limit playing in the background.
Oh, yeah. But since we can travel through time, it's like when Rick Ross covered that song, Push It to the Limit.
Exactly. And they talk about you got to be good at the sell. Like, I hate it when like writers they hear a wrestling term and they just pepper it in there. Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's a wrestling term, and that makes it more authentic, and you use it wrong.
Mm. But then he's like legit trying to make him tap out. So then I'm like, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah, like what's going on?
Brother, you're tapping out to that toe hold. You better be careful. Terry Funk gonna fuck somebody up.
And then he's bouncing at Katie's bar, which is where they allude that he met his wife, and then he takes his wife, and he has to explain to his wife, nobody gets hurt, like we have to really shit on wrestling some more. Also, we have Ron Reese wrestling in the ring, who's wearing Big John Studd type gear. So.
At one point, they referred to him as the Raging Bull.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when they were doing like for some reason, also WCW. Oh. Pan over, they're like, and there's the Raging Bull, and doing something like, supposed to be Manny Fernandez.
But yeah, and also too, like there was especially in the first scene, there was a lot of talking in the ring, like guys talking to each other.
Which was weird.
That's what I fucking hate the most about when you portray pro wrestling in movies is...
Why were you late? Traffic was terrible on the 405.
Yeah, like full-on conversations to each other in the ring. Doesn't happen.
Well, I have had some. I'm not gonna lie. I've definitely been in the ring wrestling and been like, what movie do you want to see later? I don't know. This sounds really good. or let's talk about custom videos for a second. We would just talk about anything. And I'd be like, I love the show Rock of Love. Those bitches are whores. And we would fight each other yelling about our favorite television shows. We would do the most random things.
And make those guys earn that nut.
Like, I love New York.
Okay.
We just have a good time.
At least we don't do enough customs, Jake.
I guess that's the problem.
Like the referee's never gone in and been like, "Hey guys, so where are we going tonight? What's going on? You doing all right? No, oh."
We gotta think. No one really talks to Jake. They're scared of him. So
maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's why I'm so offended. Is because like nobody wants to talk.
Everybody else talks, just not you.
Yeah, everybody else talks in the ring just so freely, but me,
I've had
like
some hilarious conversations in the ring during matches.
I have not.
Nope.
I've been all
Fear.
business.
Okay.
Fear.
Much like when Beastly from Fest Wrestling was like, he goes, man, the first time I met you, you were like all business, and everybody stayed away from you. I'm like, yep, that's how I want you to remember me by.
Ain't shit changed, Beast. Walk away.
If I could just make one suggestion, if you guys learn how to work, you wouldn't have to memorize your matches, and then you can have more fun in the ring.
Listen, I got to get back up and catch guys. Okay, I can't stay down for too long to have a conversation. I have to get back up.
I know.
We got to duck to tilt the world head scissors, catch a reverse Rana, go outside, catch him on a dive, and then get back in the ring.
No,
okay?
Then maybe I can grab a hold and talk about some shit. But until then,
I'm catching my breath. Okay, catching my fucking breath. Then after the wedding, he ran off to Kansas City, which actually I believe was factually correct. He went to the Central States Territory. I don't know if it was necessarily his first one, but it was definitely listed that way. And he talked about why he picked Jesse Ventura, because Jesse James, the outlaw, and Ventura was a place he hung out in the Navy. I still can't find out if that was correct. And also in the scene, they said that his wife came up with the name.
The body.
Which actually, according to Wikipedia, Vern Gagne was the one that came up with the body moniker.
Of course he did.
So
I love that when he's talking about it, after like when future Jesse is talking about married Jesse, he's like, we went to Kansas City with 2 pairs of underwear and $250 in our pocket.
Yeah.
Like, man, that's a real creepy ride. Just all I got these panties. I'm gonna wear this wedding dress, and she didn't have pockets, so he's got a pair of like regular tighty whities and a pair of like silk panties in 2 of his pockets. But then they show up in Kansas City and they're changed.
Yeah.
So
we obviously had peroxide in there too. He had to dye his hair.
Yeah. So. He probably found that at the hotel. Yeah. Motel. Really.
Probably came with the room.
Probably did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm sure other wrestlers lived there, or like it stayed there. Probably the wrestlers that are on this show.
Murderers probably stayed there.
They had to change their identity. Yeah.
So
hookers.
That's what we learned about motels tonight. Is that they always have peroxide there.
So,
and hookers.
If you're looking for a quick, affordable way to dye your hair, everybody, motels. And some of them have HBO.
Some of them.
And catch up on your Game of Thrones.
That continental breakfast.
But then we see some more B-roll footage.
I just remember what happened next. Go ahead.
Yeah, where we see Time Lord,
the one
Bill Goldberg.
Doctor Who, Bill Goldberg.
Wrestle Jesse Ventura.
In his very first match in 1970, whatever.
Yeah.
7, 8, 3.
With a fan holding up a Wolfpack shirt.
Yep. And a sign that says Triple H.
Oh my God.
Let's talk about that.
This is amazing.
Yeah. I think it's amazing that you get somebody I understand, and I'm glad that Chris Kanyon got a payday. Understand, get it, like it, love
He
it.
was in a lot of times.
Yeah. But Bill Goldberg, like, can you imagine if WWE signed off on this TV movie? Would they put Stone Cold Steve Austin in this movie? Like,
and then they like kind of show and hint that Goldberg did the job.
yeah, but also too, like,
So he started off defeated when he got to WCW.
Jesse's supposed to be the bad guy, but he gets jumped in the beginning.
Yeah.
So obviously, like, you don't understand the pure concept of that in pro wrestling. And then it's like, okay, then he turns around and beats him up. I'm like, oh, now he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
When really he just had a match structure like a babyface. Like, yeah, and I feel like they picked this actor because of his wrestling ability. Like, there are things that were okay, but then there are certain things that kind of makes my brain hurt. That, like, I don't even know.
His talking?
His talking.
Yes. It made my brain hurt. It made me fall asleep.
Made you fall asleep. Because that soothed, soft, non-accent got to you.
Yeah, it wasn't an authentic Minnesota accent.
Real dumb grunt noises.
There was a moment where he said Minnesota. And I thought that was good enough.
That was the one time. That was the one time. And you turned and looked at me even. You were like, oh, there it is.
Yep.
I think that's what he did too. He looked at the director and he goes, "There you go. That's all the attempt I'm going to make at this accent."
Just put that into the rest of the movie. Just maybe say Minnesota a lot.
But that's got to be tough if you're playing Jesse Ventura, because he has like the most distinct voice ever. Like, if you tried to copy that,
You just like an asshole halfway through.
yeah, you would look like a fucking asshole. You'd look like you would be doing an impersonation.
Getting paid to do an impersonation, do it.
But like, if you're trying to do a serious like story,
But if they're gonna let you not do it, then don't.
Serious? This is serious? Well, did you take any of this seriously?
I'm sure they did. I'm sure the people that put money into this.
This was
I'm sure
not
the people
serious.
that made a movie that has a cover such as this took it seriously.
That is a very patriotic cover.
well, I will say this: the writers of this movie, I looked up their IMDb page.
Yeah.
I saw no other credits
You don't-
blackballs.
other than a Tom Sawyer cartoon, and that is all that I ever saw that they've worked again. So
People got fired.
People lost their lives over this. Their livelihoods are gone.
People lost homes. Okay?
yes, people changed professions after this.
That's a bad movie.
He has a conversation with his dad about changing his name. I had the same conversation with my father. This really can't hit home with me.
Did it really?
Yeah, I'm telling you, this movie hit home with me.
my
Okay, I want to play. See, I'm taking all notes of this. Whenever I get to the position that somebody asks me to play Jesse the Body Ventura, because it's gonna happen. You know, I've been
Excited for that. That would be amazing.
listen.
I'll help you with your accent if you want.
Please, I need all the help I can get. I'm working on it. I was a part of the Mongols Motorcycle Club.
Don't bring that up.
Do not bring that up. No, I was madder than hell. Like, and then of course we introduced this big time promoter known as Cheney, who I believe is just Vince McMahon and Eric Bischoff rolled up into one, and talks about how he. I'm guessing that's what they were trying to allude to. But they do a lot of fucking liberties at this time, and also they talk about Cheney, who says he belongs on our team, as if
He's like, go talk to him, and then he grabbed him and pulled him back, and it was like,
Make sure he doesn't leave without a pin in his head.
yeah.
right.
And while that conversation is going on, there's a person behind him flipping off the camera. if you couldn't tell, it's there. I saw it on second viewing.
I'm just gonna have to believe you on that one.
And then of course. There's the pile driver off the second from 1983, because
That only breaks a collarbone, but looks like that guy's legit dead.
Yeah.
and they break kayfabe in the middle of the ring, like definitely in 1983. Even if they murdered somebody, they still would have got the pin and got out of there. Like
Like, why wouldn't you just sell the collarbone? I don't know.
I
Whatever.
do not know.
Okay.
Oh, Canyon killing people.
All right. That's
Which, big reveal, that guy in the costume was Canyon again.
telling you, Cannon's all over the place. He was Mortis. He was Canyon.
Get all those paydays.
He was this guy.
Good for him.
I like to think he can.
Paydays,
yeah, I think he convinced him that he was actually triplets.
He was like the first suicide.
Yeah.
He might be.
The first Curry Man.
Oh, yeah, Curry Man.
Then we get caught back up to the blood clot. Then he talks about his announcing career. They did find somebody that could sound exactly like Gorilla Monsoon, though.
Couldn't do a better job trying to find someone that kind of looked like him.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Kind of looks like he owns a McDonald's chain.
Probably does.
Ate a couple of them. Got him.
This is where they bring up Jesse's classic line: "Win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat." And that is the American way. His dad was very upset.
That got real hot.
That got real mad.
Did get hot, didn't he? He came after him.
He came for him.
Yeah, he totally came for him.
Also during that scene, I think Barry Darso is wrestling in the ring.
Oh, really?
That or Bo Douglas. I can't really tell for sure, but I want to say Barry Darso. And that would make sense because I think Barry Darso might have been under contract with WCW at that time, so it only kind of makes sense because Eddie Sharkey connection, Jesse Ventura, he might have weaseled his way in, and it's I think he might have even had a contract at that time that was very much like Laney Poffo, like you never appear, but you're just contracted by WCW. So I think that was probably what was going on. A lot of weirdness has happened where they're talking about how like heels aren't what they used to be anymore, as if Jesse was around in that era.
Yeah, you know.
And then a fan hits Jesse in the head with a chair to talk about like all the violence that's happening in wrestling when Jesse
changed.
Which that whole era, like he was completely gone before that ever happened.
Right. Like there was never, ever any brawling into the crowd before that time. That never happened ever anywhere.
No. Definitely not in like 87 or even in 1990 when Jesse was with WCW.
Or in Japan or Puerto Rico or Mexico or any other place that draws arenas.
Yeah, like they're painting a portrait of pro wrestling in the late 90s when Jesse was very far away from it. Most notably a fucking Montreal Screwjob with fucking Raven.
Wow.
That was very odd.
Extremely fucking odd.
Yeah, that was so odd. I was like
it was happening. I was like, are they going here?
Yeah.
Are they doing this? They're doing this.
Yeah,
they're doing this.
They took all of the stuff from the late 90s and just put it in like Jesse's life and like portrayed it as, you know, reasons why he quit and all that stuff, and not when the real stories are just as compelling.
Yeah.
You know, if you make up a character that's somewhat similar to Hulk Hogan and talk about making a union and this guy blocked it, and then you go to the other place where he went and then find that he's coming over, like, it's a far more dramatic story, but at the same time, too, Hogan's with WCW, you can't paint that picture. A lot of creative licenses taken. So, very curious. And then we talk about the acting career of Jesse Ventura, which is quite extensive. Everybody knows Predator and The Running Man.
With Schwarzenegger?
Yes. And which we get a voiceover.
Predator with Schwarzenegger in it?
Yeah, with Schwarzenegger. But also
and that Batman movie he was in with Schwarzenegger?
Yep.
That's right. But also too, he was also in Demolition Man.
Goddamn right he fucking was. You know who wasn't? Schwarzenegger.
And he was in Major League 2 as himself. A lot of people forget about that.
I definitely did. I watched that the other day and didn't even think about it.
Because he was in the beginning with Willie Mays Hayes, White Lightning and Black Hammer or Black Thunder.
Okay, yeah.
Where he jumps off the building and lands on his feet. Like that was Jesse Ventura. Also too, he was in No Holds Barred, obviously. The Johnny Knoxville movie The Ringer. Ricochet, which is a lesser-known movie with Denzel Washington. He was also...
Lesser-known movie and Denzel, same sentence.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about the movie Ricochet. It also has John Lithgow in it. It's actually a very good film. Also, too, he was a voice on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TV series reboot that was in 2014. He also appeared in a TV movie called Tag Team, which I need to find and will probably be discussed sometime here.
I've suggested that one a few times.
Have you now?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to look into that one.
I remember watching that as a youngin'.
Also, too, he appeared on several episodes of Hunter, which was an NBC
that was a good show.
Television series, which I liked as well, Friday nights on NBC. Also, some movie that I think I'm going to get this, Abracus, Guardian of the Universe.
Sounds legit.
You should see the VHS cover for it, sir.
This
Sounds like it
VHS,
should be animated.
It looks fan-fucking-tastic.
Sounds like Marvel.
So, yeah, it looks like early 90s Marvel.
Guys, I gotta go.
But no, that's kind of give you some highlights of his career. They talk about his acting career. I couldn't figure out the TV pilot he kept referring to. I figured there'd at least be a credit like something on IMDb, but no mention of whatever TV pilot he was working on.
I thought it was tag team.
Well, it says TV movie, but tag team would make sense. So
I think it was tag team.
it might have been a thing where they take a TV movie with the hopes that they would turn it into a TV series.
Because now that I think about it, at the same time, like over my travelings this past weekend, I listened to the Bruce Pritchard podcast sometimes, and he was mentioning Ventura and it being a TV show. And it being tag team being a TV show.
Well, one thing that NBC used to do a lot is they would do like a TV movie and then make it an hour-long series or a half-an-hour series, because they did that with the show Viper, which was about the...
Randy Orton.
No.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
About the car Viper. About the car Viper. And but they had a TV movie, and it was like the TV movie was like super successful. I'm like, oh, well, guess what, folks? It's going to be an hour-long action series.
Oh.
And then,
you mean like Thunder in Paradise?
yeah, same exact theory. That's how like TV shows were created. So, but then we get to him hunting in Brooklyn Park, and that's how he ends up becoming the mayor of Brooklyn Park. Which, Josie, you tell me about Brooklyn Park.
I mean, it's a suburb. It's a northern suburb of Minneapolis.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good area. You know,
well-to-do.
There's some rich people. There's some middle class people. Some colleges, or I think I went to like trade school up there. Mm-hmm. When I was picking a trade.
No.
Yeah.
Wrestling?
No, not yet. Not yet. Still had hope.
So it's gonna make it this real big world.
Yeah, it's gonna be something.
And this is where he does the interviews where he talks about he thinks he belongs in the White House, but then he talks about how maddening government was and how he was outnumbered always 6-1, and
which is where we meet the actual most successful actor in this movie.
Oh.
Ah, yes.
You know who it is now? It is the mayor that leans over to the lady and goes, "Who the hell is this?" or "Who's this?" And she's like, "Oh, it's Jesse Ventura." He's like, "The wrestler?" That guy does about 7 to 8 movies a year.
Oh.
His name is Boyd Banks.
Uh-huh.
And seeing his picture here, you might recognize him a tad more.
I remember looking at his IMDb page, but I now know what you're talking about. Yes.
He's just like
he is very famous.
Yeah, he's just a method actor dude.
Definitely. But I can see how he fades kind of into the background in your memory. Okay.
Yeah, like you couldn't. He's basically done like every zombie movie ever done.
Yeah, he was in Land of the Dead,
Dawn of the Dead, all that.
Yeah.
Lars and the Real Girl. He's in Designated Survivor a lot. So he's in like a shit ton of stuff. He does 8 to 10 projects a year.
Good for him.
Yeah, I saw him. I was like, oh my God, it's that guy. They got some real star power here. Get it, Boyd.
Now it's legit.
Yeah, now this movie's picking up. And it sort of does.
Yeah, because I think when we get to like the political stuff, we get a little bit closer to...
the end.
Or the part where Josie fell asleep.
I was fighting it so hard. I was like, by the time I turned around, I just looked at him and I was just like, is there much longer at this? Because I'm fading. I'm fading fast.
Well, and also like, from this point on, when he starts doing the politics, I'm not being like blatantly insulted.
Yes, exactly.
So then it gets a lot better to me.
Well, they take actual events that actually happened.
Yeah.
They glaze over the fact that the mayor who he replaced had been mayor for 25 years.
Suck it.
And he replaced them. So that should be pointed out. But like, yeah, when we get to the politics part, it's like they could actually take actual things that happened, except for this rap song. I can't find this rap song that he did.
Okay. The black person in the room has to know about that. Yeah.
I assume more so.
I love how everybody just looked.
I assume the Minnesota part of you would, said it was on your TVs. But I mean, the fact you're black doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I was like a young person. I wasn't watching TV like that. I mean, goodness, I don't think I cared about politics at that time. I feel like that wasn't actually a recorded song. If that was just an appearance on a radio show.
I'd say I felt the same way. It seemed more like a radio show.
Because there is like a black radio station in Minneapolis, and I feel like that's what he did.
Okay.
What got me was that when they showed that scene, it was take 47.
Was it really?
Yeah, like take 47. It took them 46 other attempts to get what it was they got there.
And that was not good?
Yeah.
Give him the body.
Yeah.
How did he mess that up?
I'm going to give you the body.
Give them the booby. Shit, guys, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
We do it again? We do it again?
I'm sorry, guys. I need to really focus on my part right now. Like,
I really liked Kool in the Gang when I was younger.
You know, I once was a bodyguard for Earth, Wind, and Fire, just to let you know.
My
soul
neighbor's
brother.
black. I love that.
And that might be his neighbor. That's how he got on it.
All right.
But yeah, he had a radio talk show, and that's how he met Dean Barkley, who introduced him to the Reform Party, and then talked him into running for governor. They took a lot of stuff that actually happened. They were far more accurate on the political part. Like, they took a lot of noteworthy stuff.
Yeah.
And Josie even pointed out too the fact that he's wearing a Timberwolves jacket was actually authentic.
That's definitely a thing because Minnesota just got their NBA team back. You know, they hadn't had professional basketball since the Lakers left. So that was a huge deal. So people really supported the Timberwolves. Huge. People bought their merchandise and wore it proudly, like a jacket like that.
To a debate with people in suits.
Right.
Which he did not do. I actually watched his debates. They're available online, and they're quite fascinating.
Yeah.
I see why people were so drawn to him, and they were aired on C-SPAN, like on national television. And I remember in high school, my buddy Jared Kilberg was like, "Did you know that Jesse the Body Ventura is running for governor?" He's like, the debate was on TV last night. It was insane. Like, and they're available on YouTube. They're great watches. I highly recommend. But basically, Skip Humphreys invited Jesse to be a part of the debates and felt that he could steal votes away from Norm Coleman, excuse me. And Josie was telling me that Humphreys was a pretty popular name.
They're big. There's a big family name in Minnesota, and they actually have a terminal airport named after them.
Also, they have a sports arena.
Sports the Humphreys?
Yes, I think so. There's some. He was big in keeping the sports in Minneapolis as well.
That wasn't the arena that was tore down to make room for Mall of America, was it?
Might have been.
Yeah.
I think it might have been because I remember watching the actual debates and they were discussing a big contention was about the Twins getting a new like baseball park and like should they get public funds? And Jesse was very much against public funds, but then Skip Humphreys talked about they mentioned his father, a legendary name, and who like ensured that sports always stayed in Minneapolis and stuff
like the Lakers.
Yes. Oh. But that was one of those. But the idea of like third party politics is like take somebody who's close enough to siphon away, much like everybody saw Ross Perot did. But that I just learned on the Dollop podcast today. That's not necessarily the case. Ross Perot stole just enough from Clinton and Bush that it didn't make a difference. So that's actually a common lie.
Ha!
So that's something.
Suck it, history.
That is something I just found out today. So through research. I've been doing so much research today.
I feel like you have.
Yeah.
On Ross Perot for some reason.
Well, it related back to third party
Yeah.
politics. I didn't have time to listen to this other podcast with Jesse Ventura. I could only listen to one Jesse podcast today while I was reading his Wikipedia page.
She got 2 ears. Just saying.
But the action figure ad was a big thing in early internet marketing.
Which I thought was kind of weird. Like, not weird. I thought that was kind of cool. And then just kind of, it was weird to see that was their level of internet at the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, keep in mind, like, you look back at movies back at the time and you're like, oh, that's very dated. But actually, that was exactly the way it was.
Exactly.
Because this movie came out 7 months after he just did it, so.
Same computer and everything.
Yeah. It wasn't too much of a stretch. It's not like, the first episode of Wet Hot American Summer that just came out like 10 years after. Like, here's some stuff from 1991, your Apple MacBook 2, Like, no, that was the actual computer they had 7 months earlier. They also went over the famous comment about prostitution that Jesse made. That was factual.
Forum, drugs and hookers.
He definitely said that.
He definitely said that. He said, as he said in the movie, He goes, I just think there's a better way to deal with it because what we're doing does not work right now. Like,
oh my.
I'm just doing the impersonation. This is part of casting, okay? Like, I'm just letting him know.
We're sitting on a res tape here soon.
Exactly. And I like how he just goes to a college and their lines is like, the Rolling Stones and the Led Zeppelin are the best bands of all time. Like people in 1998 in college are going to be saying that.
98?
Yeah.
That's not... People were heavy into Britney Spears at that time, I feel like.
Yeah, he should be like chanting out NSYNC or Spin Doctors.
Yeah.
If nothing else.
Well, watch you say about Spin Doctors now. You need to calm down.
No, I was saying that they should be yelling about the Spin Doctors because I love the Spin
Damn right
Doctors.
they should be yelling about today. Guys, the Spin Doctors are the greatest band ever.
I think they're coming to Charlotte.
They're coming to town. Yeah, they're coming to town.
I think they kind of live here.
Oh, do they?
That's like saying Cowboy Mouth is coming to town. And Edwin McCain. Like, he's always here.
Well,
Everybody lives in uptown.
Clinton Orr, a comedian who's based out of here in Charlotte, who's now living in New York, he tweets about like one of the guys from Spin Doctors like playing in the subway systems in New York for change.
Virgil's there and everything.
But then we get into the election results, and the thing that blows my mind the most, like I feel like they were doing a good job, of all like well, this is what happened during the campaign, the action figure ads, the Thinker TV ad, all of this is pretty much on the head. But then they said with 15% of the results in, Jesse's the projected winner, and everybody acts like it's the fucking
That's it.
That was it.
That's all we needed to hear.
15%. It was a super close race, and even in reality, Jesse delayed his speech until there was more results in, but people were like, no, you're probably going to win. Just give a speech. He's like, no, I know this is close.
Not going to jinx it, assholes.
Not going to jinx it, assholes, but so... And then we get to the end, because obviously this came out like after he'd only been in office for 5 months at best, and they tie-dye the windows, and he said, I promise you this is not going to be boring. And then they give, at the end, they go, certain events in this drama is based on fact or an interpretation. Certain characters are composites or have been fictionalized, and some names and locations have been changed. To which I reply, no shit.
Yeah. WCW.
Yeah. And of course, they have a big thing like where the fuck the brother was. And that's kind of where we're at right now.
The aftermath.
Let me give some of your guys' reviews. To me, you were, I believe Zane's comment was, what is this shit?
It definitely was.
My girlfriend fell asleep during the last 15 minutes.
I was tired and it was awful.
I even remember watching this thing as a child and kind of thinking it was fucking garbage.
Yeah.
Especially since there is such a fucking far better story to fucking tell about fucking Jesse Ventura.
Yeah.
Like, there's, like I said, but also should make mention too, the night that this TV movie aired was the night that Owen Hart died.
Oh, shit.
There's a little piece of...
So nobody watched it.
Well, I didn't get the over the edge pay-per-view, so...
You did.
I feel like
Did this push you to want to be a wrestler even more?
This pushed me more into getting into politics even more.
No, because it was the only good part of it.
Because they need help.
Yeah, because
if things like this can happen.
I am a huge fan of Jesse Ventura. I'm a huge fan of his political career. I'm only saying this because I've been setting my girlfriend up to counter this. She does not agree. Because here's the thing. There has been a lot of discussion of Jesse Ventura since Donald Trump has been elected president. At least at this moment in time, he's our president. Maybe not by the airing of this podcast, or who knows what's going to happen. Or if
he's going to be a dictator by that point.
We don't even know if there's going to be an iTunes available anymore. But
it's going to be in Korean.
Yeah, we don't know. But there's been a lot of discussion of how he became to be governor, and they compared it a lot with Trump, and a lot of the comparisons of being the anti-government, basically platform. You know, like I'm the guy that's different than all of what you've been dealing with before. And that was something that when I listened to the Dollop, they talked about Ross Perot. Like there's been a lot of seeds to plant to get to Trump, and Jesse was one of those things, and people examined his campaign. But what I have not been able to find is a clear and decisive answer if Jesse was a good governor or not.
Did you Wikipedia Minnesota governors and bills passed at that time and see what kind of legislation was?
I actually have.
Oh my god!
What the fuck?
I love him so much. He's so thorough.
I'm extremely thorough. So bear with me. I'm going to be throwing sheets of paper on the floor that I no longer need. I have multiple notes that I've had to siphon through, but definitely something that Jesse did that you may or may not have realized would be
Hookers and drugs.
There was a surplus in the taxes in Minnesota at the time, and Jesse felt that those funds should be returned to the citizens of the state, which he did. He cut sales tax. He gave the state's first sales tax rebate, incentives and stuff like that, and he set up the Metro Blue Line, the light rail that is in your city that you've actually taken advantage of one of the times that
my mom loves that thing because it connects Big Lake to like the fucking airport and to the Mall of America. My mom lives near Big Lake. She's like, I just drive my car and park it in Big Lake at the casino, and then I can get on the Blue Line. I can be in Minneapolis.
Which Jesse had a large part to do to make that happen. So he was the one that laid the groundwork for that light rail to exist.
For your mother getting ready to go to the mall.
Yeah.
He also made cuts in income tax. He also, I'm trying to think of what else. He funded public education, a large amount. He gave a lot of funds. His actually lieutenant governor was a teacher, who had no political experience. She was just a teacher.
What was her name?
Her name was
Mary Ellen Otremba.
May Shunock. It's like May. It's highlighted right there.
A teacher of mine, her husband ran for government office, and he died in office, and she took over his position, and then she ran and won the next term. Yeah, she was like my home ec teacher.
Oh, wow.
But go on. Tell us about more how good Jesse is.
He was also a proponent and staunch believer in
Lizard people.
Gay rights, abortion rights. He was against public funding for higher education institutions, but he was for public schools. He was also a believer of medical marijuana, which he's very much in today. He opposes the death penalty. He's spoken out on numerous other issues. He also vetoed 45 bills in his first year in office, but only 3 of them slipped by because they reached such a majority that his veto didn't matter, but he still vetoed it anyways to prove his disapproval. There was also tax-free checks that were issued to citizens of Minnesota.
You're making me sound like a bad guy here for not liking all that, because that sounds really great.
I know. Like, I've tried to find negative things about the guy, especially his time during office, and the only thing I can really find is that he attacks the media a lot, and the media was out to get him, and he talks a lot about how since there were no other Reform Party or Independent Party people in the state legislature, that they were always out to basically get him. Like, oh, you're not part of our team, so fuck you. So there was always a battle that way. Another thing that he drew criticism on is he didn't stay in the governor's mansion. He decided to stay at his own house. And they felt that he was taking away jobs of people who worked in the governor's mansion, and then the money they would cost to open it back up. And also, too, he used the governor's security unit to follow him around when he was on his book tour. That was something that he raised a lot of ire that way. And also, too, like, he did the SummerSlam thing, but, I think in the state of I found out that in the state of Minnesota, WWE pay-per-view numbers were some of the highest it's ever been. So he did big business for Vince, and that was another thing that gave criticism that he helped former employer make some money because of his political leverage and his notoriety, and people felt that he was taking his governorship and using it to enhance his brand as opposed to spend a lot of time. But he did actually do a lot of things. Like I said, the light rail, made cuts to taxes. He stood on the right side of a lot of political issues. Like, at this moment in time, Hillary Clinton is even supporting gay rights and gay marriage. And he was very much a person that stood behind homosexuals serving in the military, which we're still in the era of don't ask, don't tell when he was making these statements, if I'm not mistaken. So,
see why I liked him? Want to see why I voted for him? See?
Yeah, but why don't you like him now?
Well, this is what I remember. I remember two things very vividly. That he did not always drive that motorcycle. He had a navigator.
Oh, yeah. During the whole movie, she's like, where the fuck is his navigator at?
Because he had one.
Okay.
He drove a navigator. That was like the most ballinest SUV at the time. That was before the Escalade. Okay. So he didn't like the fact that registering his car costed, it was a percentage of how much the car was worth. Mm-hmm. He cut that and he made it just like a flat fee of like $32.
And you don't like that? Were you driving a unicycle?
Right? I was driving a little shit car. But when you keep cutting taxes and you keep giving back rebates and stuff, suddenly the state ran out of money. And they had to shut stuff down.
Okay.
And he laughs at me, but I was like, I remember driving through the state and all the rest stops were closed. Because they didn't have anybody to maintain them. They had to be on the side of the road.
Counterpoint, Jake Manning.
Well, that's another thing that someone of the Reform Party would say is, and something he said in the debate, I believe he was saying the thing that he hoped the most is that you won't even know that the government is there.
Yeah.
Like he wants the government so small, he wants it to do a minimal amount. He wants you to be able to protect your freedoms, but at the same time he doesn't want to overreach its bounds. That's always what he's expressed multiple times. That's why he's even refused. Before Colin Kaepernick, he has refused to stand at attention during the national anthem because of the TSA. Because since he has like a titanium hip, he gets pulled in for searches all the time. And he feels like what the TSA is doing is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. And he feels like and he's speaking out against that. And he's had like an actual lawsuit against the actual TSA.
I remember that.
He made the case that he's like, I'm no longer going to stand at attention for the national anthem. I'm going to turn my back and put up the fists like John Carlos and Tommy Smith in the 1968
comparable
Olympics.
It's just the same. It's exactly the same.
Yeah, but that's what he feels like has happened. And he considers himself a financial conservative, but a social liberal. Which I feel like most people probably see themselves like you don't want to pay a shitload of taxes and you don't want the government to overreach its bounds. And that's basically what he speaks out against most of the time. Also, another thing that he was going to do for his lieutenant governor, because he was so frustrated at the way everything was going and what he was dealing with the Senate and the House, he was thinking about resigning mere months before his term was up. So that way his female lieutenant governor would end up being the first female governor of Minnesota, and they would have to paint a portrait of her, and it would hang up there with all these other men.
That's pretty sweet.
Did he do it though?
He backed off of it because he felt like it would be more of a publicity stunt as opposed to something that was actually earned. But he just said he was floating the idea out there. Also, Minnesota still hasn't had a female governor yet, so he would have put in the first.
They're waiting for the right one.
Exactly. I think
making
that's
a return to
I feel like that's kind of where he stands on it. But a big reason he was only a one-termer is because he was fed up with stuff, but he also felt that his family their privacy was attacked, and he felt like he needed to spend more time with his family. And he made mention that he would have run for president multiple times already if he was single. He's like, I just don't want to drag my family through. Which part of the reason why he's pushing for medical marijuana right now is because he never mentioned who it was in his family, but he's like a member of his family has become chronically sick, and medical marijuana is the only thing.
Fucking brother. And that's why he's not in the fucking movie. That's why he's never talked about again. So he's too fucking sick. He doesn't want to bring light to him.
I got a theory.
Arrest my case.
I got a theory. His brother was in the military, right?
Yeah.
So he went over to Vietnam also, but he got addicted to heroin over there. Okay. And he's the one.
This is all alleged. This is all speculation.
I am making all this up. And now the medical marijuana is what helps him cope with that addiction.
We got on
they've tried the methadone. They've tried other things.
Because he's never made mention what member of his family needs to be prescribed medical marijuana. That's part of the reason why he is in Mexico, is so he can freely get whatever he needs marijuana wise, because he's a proud citizen of Minnesota. Minnesota hasn't made the leaps and bounds that it needs to in that field.
They're getting there though.
And he also feels that he, as he said before, he goes, I love this country, but I hate this government.
Yeah.
So he feels like he's got to get away and goes to Mexico, where there's very lax restrictions and laws where he can kind of do what he feels like he need to do. And he's like, I'm a reasonable citizen and I will act as such and I will abide by the laws. He's very much a stickler on laws. Like when he was on Joe Rogan's podcast and he was in California just before California legalized recreational marijuana, he said that Joe was like, oh, you want to smoke some? Because who's going to arrest him? He's like, but no. It's only medical marijuana here in California. I do not have a card. I'm not licensed in this state. I will not smoke. I will not do any of that. I would discourage anybody to do so themselves.
And Joe was like, cool.
Well, he does a video podcast as well, so you would have saw it. So, but he's very much a stickler of the rule. Also, too, something he did while he was governor, which you mentioned in that podcast, is he made conceal and carry legal, but he put a caveat of you have to have a 0.0 blood alcohol level. So you cannot conceal and carry and have any alcohol in your system, which I feel like that's a fair compromise enough. That's well thought out.
Man, you're making me...
well, you've said one. You've only said one thing. You hated he cut so much funding that it closed some stuff down.
Which is a consequence of taking away, of this idea of cutting taxes. And that is a consequence of that there are certain programs that help people out, like the idea of do we cut Medicaid? Do we cut social services? Do we cut food stamps? You can keep cutting all these things that actually help people. The same thing in the rest areas. I'm sure in Jesse's mind, the way his political views line up is why do I want government rest areas when we get these people to stop at gas stations so they can spend money so businesses can thrive? Mm-hmm. That's how he in his mind he would probably rationalize that.
Okay. Well, their signs are still up and I still need to pee. So you're going to the rest stop, you go there, it's blocked off with a big yellow tape saying closed. Dude, the government shut down. What? So I guess I'm over here in the thistle.
Get my coot out.
Yeah.
But he also made mention, he referred to the people in the media. He attacked the media just as much as we have politicians attacking the media today. So much, in fact, that he called them media jackals. And the press passes that you were required to wear in the governor's press area said media jackals on it. Which is a very dick move that I can appreciate. So... But, and also, too, there is kind of a link between Jesse and Senator Al Franken. Do you remember Senator Paul Wellstone?
Yes.
Yes. Died in a tragic plane crash.
Yes.
With his wife and, I believe, his daughter, mere months before the election came up for his Senate seat. And Norm Coleman, who ran against Jesse as governor, was the Republican candidate. Paul Wellstone's funeral turned into an absolute debacle. A funeral that was attended by former President Bill Clinton and Vice President Al Gore, and it turned into a political rally.
Yeah, Paul Wellstone was well loved.
Al Franken cites him as an example of why he's in politics today. And well liked, and there was a beach ball being tossed around at this man's funeral, and people were outraged by this. Jesse was so upset of how much of a spectacle that this funeral and service had turned into that he walked out halfway through. Al Franken cites that very event as being the reason, the catalyst that got him involved in the political, become a senator. That's what I'm trying to get at. And basically, I think at the next election for that seat, obviously Norm Coleman won the seat. They tried to put up Walter Mondale, former vice president, to fill Wellstone's spot, just within a mere matter of weeks. And of course, Norm Coleman won it and did some awful things. So Al Franken ran against him. But the guy that replaced Wellstone for the few weeks that was left on a seat was actually Dean Barkley, because he was appointed by the governor, Jesse Ventura. He put Dean Barkley in that spot to take Wellstone's seat, and he was going to choose a Democrat, but Jesse was so upset by the way the Democrats acted at the service for Wellstone. He's like, no, I'm just going to put this guy, Dean Barkley, who got me involved in politics. I'm going to put him in the spot because I know he's a good guy.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
And then of course Coleman won the spot. And then Dean Barkley tried to run again And that was part of the reason why the race became so close between Coleman, Franken, and Barclay. And that's why they had to recount everything, and that's why it took so long to elect Al Franken to the Senate.
I think Al Franken, there are people are talking about him running for president.
Yeah, but he's outright said that he doesn't want anything to do with it. Because everybody knows that responsibility of that.
He should just be funny and go back to Saturday Night Live.
I think we need him in the Senate.
Okay.
I feel like if I want him anywhere, I'd rather have him in the Senate.
Okay.
But as I comb through the rest of Jesse's Wikipedia page, it's just a lot of discussion of him distrust of the government, flirting with becoming president, conspiracy theories, 9/11 stuff, violations of the government. A lot of discussion of his SEAL credentials.
Oh, he had one jump. So,
well, here's kind of the skinny on that. Is basically Jesse was part of an underwater demolition team. He did go through BUDS training, which was basic underwater demolition SEAL training, and basically, you either are a SEAL or your underwater demolition team. Well, Jesse was a part of the underwater demolition team. He did not go through the additional 26 weeks of SEAL training. But then they eliminated underwater demolition team and gave those people the additional training to become SEALs, and now everybody's a SEAL. And people that went through the programs with Jesse was like, this is just a mere technicality.
Yeah.
Like, a SEAL is a SEAL. We all went through BUDS.
Yeah.
Like,
no one did as much as I did. No one did more than
exactly.
I didn't do anything else, and no one else.
You're splitting hairs here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing too. Is that, if you say underwater demolition team, people will know what you're talking about. But if you just said SEAL, everybody kind of gets what you're saying. So
I'm having thoughts of explosions underwater or how they.
They both went through the same basic training.
Okay.
It was just a different thing. But one guy was saying that he wasn't actually a Navy SEAL.
Okay.
So, but it's a mere technicality. So, and then of course everything about the Chris Kyle controversy.
I was just thinking about
that.
That did not happen.
That whole story did not happen. Actually, the owner, he almost dropped the lawsuit. He was going to drop the lawsuit. He just wanted Chris Kyle to say that, hey, this shit didn't happen. And actually, the people that testified for Chris Kyle's family and said that it did happen. One person was drunk on the stand, like he was intoxicated.
Hey man, look, man, that shit happened with Chris, okay?
Yeah. Also, too, the owner of the bar where it happened was actually a friend of Jesse Ventura's, and Jesse's like, I would never cause trouble in my friend's bar. And when it came time for him the option to drop the lawsuit, the owner of the bar where this alleged incident happened said, no, you go on with this lawsuit because I don't want my place to be, considered that this actually happened.
Yeah.
And there's more people that came out. There was overwhelming evidence and multiple appeals were denied. But because of the lawsuit, because HarperCollins Publishing paid most of the damages, but there were damages assessed directly to Chris Kyle's family, which later after appeals, those were dropped then. But it did get to the point that the Chris Kyle family was on the hook for $1.3 million, which is not when somebody who's viewed as a hero and then you basically go after $1.3 million of a widow. That sits uncomfortably, but of course from what I understand, a fall in the lynch of that has been taken off the table and that's no longer discussed. She's not on the hook for that. HarperCollins gave up $500,000 to Jesse for liable because they have liable insurance, and Jesse knew that because he's written several books as well himself. So Jesse splits his time between Mexico right now, and his son Tyrell is on RT America, I believe, watching the Hawks, which is a YouTube show, and RT, I believe, stands for Russia Today, which is very interesting considering our personal climate right now politically.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of just other random stuff about Jesse. I have 33 pages on the floor of his entire Wikipedia page. I mostly just wanted to do this so I could talk about Jesse Ventura.
Understandable.
So I think he's a fascinating man, and this movie does not do it justice. So
a sequel obviously needs to be made, or a remake,
a reboot,
so that you can be casted and live your childhood dream.
I think a 10-episode Netflix reboot series would be good.
When you binge
Making a
watch
Mayor.
The whole thing?
Oh yeah, Making a Mayor.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like
Equal parts Glow and.
I think Jesse's a fascinating guy, and he was a part of something that we're now in the middle of right now. This don't trust the government.
Yeah.
And he's saying that, but he also has solutions to it.
Yeah.
And he's been a part of at least politics, but because of probably personal reasons, he's not becoming involved. And it's always comes to the thing like the people that should be leading can't lead or don't want to lead is usually the way it ends up. But that's the thing. It's like I can't find any more information whether he was for sure a good governor or not. But just everything that I've listed off, keep in mind this is just Wikipedia. But these are all things that were sourced, and I double-checked the sources to make sure they're the case. And I looked at multiple YouTube clips, and the sound bites match up, with his tone and what he was going for, what he talked about in the debates, or things that he ended up doing in office that were listed on these sites. So I cross-referenced everything I could from different sources and listened to multiple media outlets discussing with him, multiple YouTube clips. So, yeah, if you were to ask me, I think he did a good job.
Okay.
I think it was the right decision.
Okay.
And it wasn't boring like this movie promised.
Oh. I fell asleep though, so.
Well, it's also the very last.
No, his governorship wasn't boring. This fucking movie was horrible.
And I don't hate Jesse. I just hate this movie. I don't. This was terrible. Yes. Sorry. I had to go to sleep to escape.
It really.
This is a defense mechanism.
I was hiding.
He was coming for me with his motorcycle.
But yeah, like.
And his no brother.
Right.
No fucking brother. No explanation whatsoever.
Gone. He went upstairs, had a terminal illness, and started smoking weed right away.
Right.
The director,
Mom's mac and cheese killed him.
The director of this movie, he still works, but the writers, no other credits available on IMDb.
Good.
So, any other thoughts about this movie before we wrap this up?
I think we did it to it.
Wow.
We done did it.
I'm glad we could share this. I'm glad that you thought I had insight, even though I feel like I didn't really. I just
no,
from Minnesota.
Got some good stuff out of it.
I was a wrestler, and I was trained by the Sharky. That's probably like the only connection.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I came at you with a manifesto.
I know, like you were ready. I was not.
Yeah.
I was not ready. But what happened to the mom? I mean,
she died.
Did she? Okay, because after the dad died, like she fell apart.
When he was when they started doing the clips of him doing his radio show, he starts reading the little. This woman gave birth to 2 kids. She said there. It's the only other time you hear about the brother.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, she dies a couple years later.
Gotcha.
Mom, also a World War II vet.
Yeah, she was a nurse.
Yep. So, both parents were vets.
Yeah.
He was a member of the Navy SEALs. Former governor. So, all right. Anything you got to plug, Zane? This is going to come out this Thursday.
This weekend I'll be at Cherry Park Beach in South Carolina, only drinking daiquiris and pina coladas for 3 days. And then next Saturday I'll be at AML in Thomasville, North Carolina, with Carlito.
Okay. Sojo, you gotta let everybody know maybe if they want some catering needs in the greater Charlotte area. No.
You don't want to talk about that place?
No.
It's a different world.
And never the two shall meet.
We don't cross-pollinate that stuff. I'll be in Wilmington at a wedding this weekend.
Yeah.
Eating lobsters and
I'll be like right down the street from you then.
Yeah, I'll be eating lobster and crab, doing that in a dress. And then
sure, yeah.
I'm gonna try to make it back in time for brunch.
And gonna try to eat some more crab and lobster there.
Yeah, and then I'll take a nap.
So see you at the races.
And then we're gonna have barbecue, and that's usually our weekends.
Jake?
Well, I will be at PWX this Sunday, so pwxpro.com for that. And then I'll be with Northeast Wrestling next weekend for Wrestling Underneath the Stars. That'll be a big weekend there. So, anyways, as always, folks, if we mess something up or if there's some sort of fact that I missed with Jesse Ventura, challenge me. Try and come for me.
Yeah.
He likes that.
I like it. I'm well informed.
Just make sure you check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Exactly. Please do that. You can get up with me on Twitter at ManScoutManning, or you can email me at jake@sslshow.com. Make sure you log on to the website, howdidthisgetbooked.com, and also to make sure you subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, SoundCloud, all the things. And please write a review. As I want to know right now, we only have one review. Never will be. I appreciate you for writing that review. I've mentioned your name on this podcast 3 times, so
maybe write a new one.
Yeah. If just let you know that if you write a review, I'll probably mention your name 3 times until somebody else comes. I think maybe that's what I'll just keep doing, is keep saying somebody's name until we get another review. Okay. But anyways,
Jesse Ventura.
This has been another edition of How Did This Get Booked?
Woo!